Oh, aloha everyone. Joshua Hayes at BigWaveTrading.com. I'm going to try to keep this video lesson short since we got a 6-hour time difference from Maui to the East Coast. So first off, we're going to go over the overall market like we always do, and then I'm just going to review some of the winning trade ideas that we've seen at BigWaveTrading.com the past couple of weeks. Wish I could get some size behind these, but I'm going to show you why right now I'd rather err on the side of caution. So first off, since the last video lesson, I didn't make one publicly this week. The SPY basically went nowhere. We are at that downtrending 50 simple moving average. The 200 simple moving average is now rolling over. A downtrending 200 simple moving average has a history initially following a rollover from it uptrending to downtrending of being heavy resistance. So keep that in mind. But my biggest problem with this market right now, why we're looking at this chart here first, this downtrend in the SPY, look at how red it is. Look at all that huge, absolutely huge distribution on the way down. Yes, there were some bullish candles. That's why the accumulation distribution line at stockcharts.com is strong, indicating that somebody was accumulating intraday. But still, since our bounce, look at the direction we have gone. Look at the direction volume has gone. We can see this in the futures contract, the SPX, and the SPY. So it's the same everywhere. The volume is declining as we rally, and it's ugly at every other index. The QQQ, or the DIA, excuse me, the QQQ, look at that it's terrible. I'm impressed how strong it is. I'm impressed that it's over its 50 and 200. Do not get me wrong, but there's no volume behind the move. And that's where we really have to, be thinking, how's this going to resolve? The IWM looks great, but once again, downtrending 50 simple moving average and the 200 simple moving average is overhead along with other resistance levels. So with these charts now being burned in your brain, rewatch that first portion if you didn't memorize what those charts look like. Let's go see what they look like with my technical indicator. I didn't want to clutter up the charts too much, so I just have the Fibonacci retracement levels, but we can go here and we can look at other major resistance levels, and we'll just use these two for now. But you can see, basically in between the 50 and the 62% retracement level in the Fibonacci lines, drawing from the highs to the lows, we also have this major price resistance level where price has found resistance here, and it appears to be finding resistance again at this level on the short term. We are above the 9 and 21 with the 9 above the 21 EMA. We are slightly above the 50 SMA. So then I start checking my indicators to confirm the strength. And short term, we can see that the TTM squeeze momentum indicator is declining. It's still bullish because it's above the zero line, but it is declining. The good news is if you're bullish and if you think this pullback can hold support, and I'm open-minded to it, trust me, I would love to see it because now we've had enough V-shaped patterns that if I can get some handles or even some sideways consolidation based on base patterns, I could be getting some nice long signals into this. I just don't think the odds are high, but, the market does whatever it wants to do, so we'll just follow the path of least resistance and follow price. On the note of the technical indicators, the TSV signal line is now above the zero line on the daily. That's good. The lead line is above it. And the PPO signal line, very hard to see, is above the zero line. This is very good news on the shortest of terms. But you can see the PPO histogram, it is weakening. So it could be rolling over soon. We'll have to keep that on note. The DIA, we look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average, same thing, but it's also at the 50 simple moving average. Signal line, PPO signal line, above the zero lines. First step, it's good. But declining PPO and TTM squeeze momentum signals that short term, especially heading into a big earnings week this upcoming week, we could be in a little bit of trouble or chop time, or we'll see what happens. I'm open-minded. I really don't. Yeah, longer term, I'm bearish, but short term, anything can happen. I could see us hitting new highs. Market's crazy. Volume doesn't matter anymore. But we're above the zero line here on the PPO, TSV. A little bit of weakening in the momentum line. The Russell 2000 via the IWM, still looking good. Once we're over the zero line on the signal line on the TSV, but the PPO is still below the zero line here. So kind of a mixed message. I think the IWM looks good. But now I start walking up to my higher time frames. When we do that, we look at the IWM, still below its 9 exponential moving averages. All the moving averages are pointing lower. That 200 is still there. TTM Momentum still negative. TSV line, even the signal line now is below the 0 level. And of course, PPO doesn't look good either. So weekly doesn't look good. Monthly doesn't look good, even though it's above the 0 line. You can still see it's been in a bearish position ever since early to mid 2018 on TSV monthly. PPO, the lead line, is now below 0. Histogram is below 0. So longer term doesn't look good for the IWM on the weekly or monthly time frame. Now looking at the QQQ, similar situation. We are still above the 0 line with the lead and signal line, but you can see it's rolled over. It's moving down. Same with the PPO, histogram strengthening, but still there's a weak condition overall to that. Same on the monthly, even though we're getting closer to a curl here, it's hard to see, but that line is starting to come up to the signal line. That's very interesting. PPO line is mixed. We've already looked at daily there. The DIA on a monthly, you can see weak, 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 weekly. Still not looking good. Lead line is below 0 still. Signal line getting towards there. PPO were lower, below the 0 line on both. So that's bearish still. This is more on a weekly time frame. And we're running right into resistance levels there. We're running right into resistance levels on the weekly here. We did get back above the 200 weekly, which is always good. The 9 EMA, but we still got that 21 weekly, 50 weekly. Those fib lines, of course. The lead line is below 0. Signal line is working its way down there. It's still in a downtrend. And as you can see, the PPO is weak on the weekly and monthly. And just so you guys can see it visually, we're going to look at one more charting software that I use, TradingView, just so you can see the power of following this indicator right here, TSV24, when it is in alignment. So what I like about TradingView is that it gives me a background color towards the time segment volume indicator. Just pay attention to this middle pane right here. This is a daily time frame. Heck, I might just start trading off of this indicator alone, and whenever it lines up on a daily, just take small size, so it goes green here finally. You can see pulls back, but during the pullback, that should be entry areas whenever it breaks out to new highs here. You can see, had that been done, you got a nice little move in the SPY, but you can see the green background on a daily. It's kind of noisy, it's kind of choppy, but when the daily is green, the weekly is green, and especially the monthly, that's when you know you've got the best, you got all the time frames in your favor now. That's normally the best time to get long stocks. But still, you can see when the daily's green, good things happen. When it's red, choppy things happen, even on a daily time frame. So that's just a daily. That's just showing you the daily. You can see this 2019 move higher initially. It's green here. It's green during this section, even though the signal line isn't really lined up. You can see here in 2019, June to July, August, got a pretty good signal there on the daily. Then you go down to your weekly time frame. Your weekly time frame, look at when it was green back here, February to July of 2019. This is when you know that you can increase a little bit of size to the long side, and then when that time frame lines up with the daily time frame, which is back here actually, you know that you can increase even more size. Now, when the monthly then is not in agreement, that's one thing. This is the SPY going all the way back to October 2018. As you can see, it's been bearish the entire time. But notice the part where we're green, 2017 uptrend. Notice what the price action of the SPY does. So now when the monthly time frame is green, the weekly time frame is green, and the daily time frame is green, that's when you know you can really increase size on the long side. Vice versa for the shorts. When you're red on the monthly, red on the weekly, and then red on the daily, you got all time frames lined up. So then, especially if you then go down to like an hourly time frame or a 30-minute time frame, the more lined up, the better. You can always set these up in toss, think or swim. It's probably one of the better ways to do it. Except toss doesn't have TSV. So you got to set it up in Telechart somehow, and I don't know how to do that. Tickets, are you watching the video? But anyway, you can see here on the monthly time frame, notice back here in the 90s, from 1995 all the way to 1998, the monthly time frame is green. Well, then you overlap it with the weekly and daily. You can see here in 2003 to 2004 on the monthly time frame green. And the same thing happens here, 2006, 2009 to 2011, this period here in 2013, and then 2017. And so like I said, you're green on that time frame. you're green on the weekly, and then especially if the daily lines up, that's when things are looking good. But if we look at where we're at right now, daily looks strong, weekly does not, monthly does not. So just keep that in mind as we move forward within the context of this current uptrend. It is short term. There's no volume behind it. So for now, to me, it's a bear market bounce until it's proven not. So let's go ahead and wrap up the video here by looking at some of the best trades that we've taken the past 2 weeks. Unfortunately, it's kind of been a little shit show on my personal end, but a lot of members are doing really well. So we'll go ahead and take a look at some of these winning trade ideas that we've had. So I want to start it off with 2 trade ideas that worked great but didn't fill us due to gap ups and why I don't like this market. So SXT, this was a quality long signal given to everybody that's a gold member. This was the signal date. Trade above 42.46, we get long. Too bad it gapped up, never pulled back to 42.46, and in one day, the stock was up about 6.5%, and it continues to work its way higher, and in 2 days, it is up 6.6%. So that's a nice little 2-day gain for overnight work, not having to do a whole lot of intraday, stressful day trading. Stressful to some, not to others. Tomato, tomato. The next one is MG. Great signal here. Hammer candle off the 52-week, near the 52-week low. Bullish uptrend line connecting the March lows to the April lows. On a heavier above average volume with the max green bop. Really like this signal. Don't love it. Can't love it, especially with the market condition. The trigger was at 340. Unfortunately, gapped up. Thanks a lot, overall market. Low was 346, so no position. Intraday, the stock was up over 24% in 1 day. Congratulations to those that took it at the market. Me, I'm still operating with perfect order, no order. Now, normally, I use a limit offset. Had I done that, the limit offset would have been about 3 to 4 cents. So you add that on top of 4, you get like 404. Or excuse me, you would have gotten 344. The low was 346. Still wouldn't even have gotten it had I used my offset. So those are 2 positions that worked really well. Both came on the same day of the gap up. Once again, congratulations to everybody, but those were missed trades. For trades not missed, RTTR continues to work well. The new long position RTTR was here. Candle over candle, heavier volume, max green bop, pocket pivot point signal. Got long this day. I have already taken all my profits, but look at it, keep going. So for those of you still long, congratulations. RTTR is up 28% in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 sessions. Pretty awesome. APOP, another one that I've already prematurely taken all my profits. It was due to Interactive Brokers. They're no longer holding bracket orders the way that they used to hold them for me. So I can't tier a bunch of different stop sizes and limit sizes at the same time. The stops that would get hit once the order amount dropped to a level that couldn't cover the limits, the limit orders would cancel. That no longer happens. Still haven't talked to Interactive Brokers customer service. So for now, I'm just keeping stops. Unfortunately, that made me get out of some positions prematurely. APOP, once again, took profits on it. It is up 11% still in a short period of time. Congratulations, everybody still long. Keep holding it. UMRX, another one. Right here was the signal. Not any huge gains also, just like APOP. Just wanted to show everybody the ones that are working. It's up 14% since the signal. What was the signal? Look at the surge in volume and BOP on this chart with that hammer candle. Do you see that? Everybody should be able to see that. That's what the signal was. Get long, bam, it works. Then there's ELA. This is the big winner, still moving higher. That same fiasco that I just talked to you about with Interactive Brokers with the stop and limits. It initially happened in March, and it caused me to get rid of ELA at some point here. Based out sideways, still moving higher. Want to show everybody what the signal looked like. First off, on this day, very interested. I see ELA this day. I look at this longer term chart. If it closes at the high of the day on 115, it's a new long position. But because it closes off the high, it's not a new long. The next day, same exact thing. Normally, if it closes near the high here, here's your original entry. Here's an add signal. Then a third and final add signal. This turned out, though, ended up being the first long signal. ELA worked perfectly. This is how they're supposed to work. Immediately. Big gains immediately. Within less than a month, we're already up 70% in less than a month. This is how things are supposed to work. Fortunately, they don't quite work like that now. But since that signal date and since that entry, No longer have a position on my end, but once again, some members do. It's up 134% in a little over 3 months. Congratulations, especially considering the overall market environment. All right, we're at the 15-minute mark, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video. If you liked the video, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, give me a thumbs down. Questions, comments, concerns, anything you want to talk about, leave it in the comments below. Subscribe if you haven't. Ring the bell if you haven't. And if you're a member, I will see you in the chat room Monday morning because we have quality and speculative long positions that I need to monitor at the open, along with our usual stocks that are in play every day on the biggest percent gapper list with volume, lower float.